Hello, this is Live with Michelle Vann, where we talk about health, wealth, and spirituality. Today, we are here with Ms. Christy Staples.
I'm here. Thank you for having me.
So glad for the virtual world. It helps us to be able to connect people near and far and to be able to have conversations in spaces and places in which we wouldn't necessarily be able to do. So, Christy, tell people who you are and what you do in the world.
Okay, my name is Christy Staples, and I am the brainchild behind Get Lunch. And Get Lunch is my creative consulting agency where we work with service-based entrepreneurs and we help them create additional stream of income through digital products. So that is me in a nutshell. I am a native from Mississippi, so you might hear a little country twang in my voice as we talk. But I hail from Houston, and I stand at a towering 6'4". So if you ever saw me in person, you would never forget me. So that's me in a nutshell.
That is funny. So I would say it's been maybe 3 years, maybe 4. I met Christy through Black CEO. We were doing a online virtual conference, and I was so impressed with the work that Christy did in taking my talk and formulating it into like something that I looked at and went, dang, I look kind of impressive. Yes. But it had nothing to do with me. It was really her work. And so tell us, when we think about branding, a lot of times we think about colors and all of that. Tell us, what is really the piece that we need to really understand about branding?
Branding is really the promise. It's a promise that you're going to give your customers, your clients, your potential clients, something. You're going to give them this particular thing every time, right? And most of the time it's results. And so when we get to talking about branding, we kind of lump it in with marketing, we kind of lump it in with graphic design and all this stuff, but it's really an intrinsic value of promise. What are you going to deliver every time? What are you going to give these people every time? What result will they get every time? So it's a promise. And then the part 2 of that is message. What are you saying? Are you saying the same thing, or are you changing your message every day to make $1? So that's what branding to me is one, a promise, and it's also a message.
So when you are working with a client, how do you get them to understand or to be able to articulate that promise?
So first thing we do is kind of go through an exercise to develop and see what that it factor is about them. And a lot of people don't know what the it factor is about them. So I kind of let them talk, and then they'll say something that's like, that's it, because their eyes will light up. They will get a burst of energy. They will sparkle, and you can just tell when it's that thing. And so when it highlights like that, then it's like, okay, we need to put some wording around this. And then that becomes their brand message. That becomes their promise. That becomes their brand. And it's pretty much something they're already doing, but it's so innate that you don't think about it. It's like you breathing. It's like you blinking your eyes. You never think about how many times you blink your eyes.
True.
It's so natural, right? And so that's what most of our giftings and our brand stems from. It's something that we do intrinsically all the time, that we innately have inside of us.
So as you are working with a client and you're working on that brand and you're working on how you get them to see that innate gift, that gift that's on the inside of them, are there any particular things that you use to help them figure that out? Because I think people, and just in church, there's always somebody that'll say, oh, I don't have a gift, but everybody has one. It's just a matter of whether you can find it. So what are things that you do to help them find that?
So one, I try to help them realize that it doesn't have to be something big, right? So we have this big, shiny, like larger than life. It has to be this big billboard. Sometimes it can be a quiet whisper. And so I try to get them to see that it doesn't have to be some grand gesture. It just has to be something that is in them. So you have to get them to really see themselves the way that other people see them. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is kind of helping them to word it in a way that feels natural and native to them. And so using their own jargon, using their own lifestyle to build around it, because you don't want to, it's almost like inserting something foreign into their life or into their body. Their body's going to reject it, right? So I try to get it in a palatable way that is their native language, is something that they will say, is something they hear people say about them all the time, and that it fits into their life. So it's not a strain, it's not a stretch, it's, oh, blah, 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 blah. That's it.
That makes sense. Because I think that's the hard part, is getting people to recognize their gift.
Yes.
And that is difficult, because we're not sure. Well, we'll talk about that when we come back in the next segment. This is Live with Michelle Vann. We're talking to Miss Christy Staples, and we will be right back. There are many reasons why womb healing may be beneficial. One reason is that the womb is where we first experience life and connect with our mother. The energy of the womb can have a profound impact on our lives, and many people report issues such as fear, anger, or a lack of self-confidence that can be traced back to experiences in the womb. Womb healing can help to release the negative emotions and allow us to move on from them. It can also help us to connect with our inner power and intuition, and to experience more love and abundance in our lives. Womb healing is an empowering process that can transform your life for the better. The better our womb is, the better our birth will be. That is why we are having an experience called Healing to Heal. It begins in the womb. April the 30th, 2022. Our doors will open at 8 a.m. We will have vendors, we will have panel discussions, we will have vaccinations available, lunch will be available, prizes, and much, much more. Our fabulous keynote speaker will be Grace Marie Brown. She is a co-author of My Son Has Autism. She is a phenomenal writer, phenomenal speaker. You will totally enjoy being in her presence. She is an open book for what can happen during the birthing process. We thank you for taking the time to consider Healing to Heal. It all begins in the womb. Sisters, can we talk? Would love to see you, and would love for you to be a part of this spectacular talk about health, wealth, and spirituality. Saturday. I am here today with Miss Christy Staples. She is Get Launched, a brand and launch strategist. We've been talking about getting to know our gift and understanding our gifting. Now, Christy, as we understand our gift, as we begin to see the gifts and talents that we have inside of us, the things that people ask us to do, how do we formulate that into a brand?
So it's already a brand, right? Because you're already doing it. And so what I try to get people to understand is that if it's something that you're already doing, so now we just have to put a label on it. Now we just have to put a name to it. Now we just have to identify it. And so once they identify it, then it's like, boom, this light goes off, the light bulb happens. You have that moment when it's like, oh, I receive it. And so that's what I try to get people to see, that it's already something you're doing. So we just need to put a label on it. And so that's what we do. So we give it a title, we give it a tagline. Those are the labels.
So as we think about that, we think about labels, we think about, I don't want to say boxes, but that's kind of what it is, being able to identify a particular area. What happens with those people that are doing multiple things? How do you help them figure out their brand?
Okay, I love this question, because a lot of people feel like they're all over the place, which they are. And they could be in a multi-level marketing company, they could be, a coach, they could be a speaker, they could be an author, and then they could have a regular job, right? And so the way that I help people to not feel like they're all over the place, not have messaging all over the place, is we have to house it under one parent umbrella, which means we have one message. So I help them come up with a hierarchy, which is the overall message and brand. So let's just say you have somebody who's in network marketing, and then they might be selling another product on the side, and then they might have coaching, right? So let's just say their brand message is, I empower women to become financially free.
Okay.
So you can say, hey, I empower women to become financial free, becoming a business owner.
Mhm.
Join my network marketing. Hey, I empower women to become financially free by selling their own products. Here we go. I help
Yeah.
women become financially free by entering my coaching program.
Right.
So all of it still flows into the overall message of I empower women to become financially free. Now, the vehicle and the way that you do it is the product and services that you provide.
So
That's it.
even though there's several things, they're all buckets under one particular branch.
Right. So you don't scream one day, oh, join my network marketing group, drink this skinny tea. You have
Hey.
the overall, right. You have the overall brand message that say, hey, I empower women to become financially free.
Okay.
And we do that through we become your own business owner through, taking these type of products or selling your own products or, through coaching.
Right.
That's it. So it's the overall brand message that brings everything together, that makes it a big sandwich, that makes it marriage, that makes it come together. So every
Right.
time you're talking about either one of your business lines, you're talking about ultimately helping women become financially free.
Right. Okay. And so when we think about that, when we think about financially free, when we think about getting women empowered, when we think about helping women to do what sometimes feels like they're, a whirlwind going, because we as women can be kind of doing 50,000 things at the same time. What is the one thing that women can really do to help themselves get stable in what it is that they're in launching that business?
So they got to focus on one business at a time, one idea at a time, one brand at a time. We as women, we're already multitaskers, right? Because we're a mom. You can be cooking breakfast with a baby on your hip, and
Right.
then telling your husband where his keys at. Like, we're multitaskers. We're that people, but we're also incubators. So that means that we do have vision, we do have purpose, and we can birth something, right? And so when we birth something, we need this just like a little baby. If you only have one baby, you just take care of that one little baby as it gets bigger, as it grows. But when it comes to business, it's like, oh, we want to have our hands over here, want to have our hands over here. But if you just focus on one thing, it doesn't mean that you can't do all these other things at a different period in time, but focus on one thing, get one process right, get one methodology right, get, a certain amount of money in the bank. Then that will open up doors for you to do other things, as opposed to you having split and divided interest where nothing gets your full attention, then nothing will fully grow.
That was good right there. When nothing can get, when it does not get your full attention, it cannot fully grow. Wow. That is good right there. And I think that's the part that a lot of us miss, because we're trying to grab at everything, feeling like if I don't get it right now, this opportunity will go by.
Yep. And that is something that we've set up as in our mind as a land trap. That's not true at all. That is not true at all, because it's like when you're trying to make something happen, you're forcing it. But when you follow God's lead and let it flow, it just like opens up effortlessly to you.
Yeah. And I think those are the times when the hard parts, when we're trying to make it. And if we will be obedient, if we will really listen, then those things will come to us easy, and we won't have that tug, that hardness.
Yeah.
All right, let's come back and talk about that in our next segment. This is Live with Michelle Vann. We are talking to Miss Christy Staples, and we will be right back. There are many reasons why womb healing may be beneficial. One reason is that the womb is where we first experience life and connect with our mother. The energy of the womb can have a profound impact on our lives, and many people report issues such as fear, anger, or a lack of self-confidence that can be traced back to experiences in the womb. Womb healing can help to release the negative emotions and allow us to move on from them. It can also help us to connect with our inner power and intuition, and to experience more love and abundance in our lives. Womb healing is an empowering process that can transform your life for the better. The better our womb is, the better our birth will be. That is why we are having an experience called Healing to Heal. It begins in the womb. April the 30th, 2022. Our doors will open at 8 a.m. We will have vendors, we will have panel discussions, we will have vaccinations available, lunch will be available, prizes, and much, much more. Our fabulous keynote speaker will be Grace Marie Brown. She is a co-author of My Son Has Autism. She is a phenomenal writer, phenomenal speaker. You will totally enjoy being in her presence. She is an open book for what can happen during the birthing process. This experience, we thank you for taking the time to consider Healing to Heal. It all begins in the womb. Sisters, Can We Talk would love to see you and would love for you to be a part of this spectacular Saturday event. So this is Live with Michelle Vann. We are here talking to Miss Christy Staples, and we were talking about making sure that we are aligning ourselves with the plan of God. When we are in alignment, when Holy Spirit is leading us, we talk about spirituality here, and we know that everything that we do is based in and filtered around being able to hear Holy Spirit and being able to have those doors open, because He is our guide, He is our lead, He is our way and our truth. And so as we're looking at it, if it's something that's hard, if it's something that isn't flowing, we probably have to go back and look and ask some more questions.
Yeah, it's probably out of alignment. And so kind of a little story. I always, I've been laid off twice. And every time I got laid off, it gave me the time I needed to realign. And I'm like, man, why don't we do this like just doing regular life, right? When you just kind of take a pause, maybe not take any clients, maybe, not go, just kind of turn down the chatter and turn down life a little bit and just make sure, hey, am I aligned? This is what I'm supposed to be doing, because, purpose is evolving. Things of that sort are continuing to grow, right? You're evolving as a person. So what that one thing that might've been back then is no longer, because you've accomplished that, right? So not taking you to greater and deeper level of your purpose. And so my motto is always give God something to work with. We talk about being in alignment. We talk about not forcing things, but we have to give Him something to work with, because He's going to give you the desires of your heart. One, we can't question what our desire is, right? Because He gave it to us. And so if He gave it to us, then He will give it to us.
Right.
But we have to give Him something to work with. We always talk about faith without works is dead. And I'm looking on this symbol. I'm looking for this sign. When's the right time to do it? We always will find some type of way to procrastinate, right? Because it's going to take more of us. It's going to take something from us. I won't be able to go to dinner and social events. I won't be able to do certain things, right? And so we never count up the cost of how much our purpose is really going to cost us.
Woo, that's good.
We never count up the cost, because it's always going to cost you more than you're willing to give. And so when you get at that point, it's like, do I give? Am I willing? Do I give? Am I willing?
And if you could do it on your own, you wouldn't need Him.
Exactly. Exactly.
And if you could do it on your own, you would have already done it.
Exactly. Exactly. So, oh, that was good. Yes. So got to give God something to work with to stay in alignment.
And that makes so much sense, because I think that a lot of times we kind of have this name it and claim it. I want to, we get into, especially right now, we're manifesting. Everybody's manifesting everything, but there still has to be something, even in a manifestation, there still has to be something that God is going to work with to bring that forth.
Yeah. Like I want to manifest a six pack, but I know I got to stop eating cookies and chips to manifest it, right? So that's some work I got to do. You just have to. It's not gonna just magically happen if you just think it.
Right. Right. And I think sometimes that is the hard part for Christians, because we want to just go to the altar, have somebody touch us, and we get zapped, and then all of a sudden all of these things just fall into place. My business is great, my marriage is great, my kids are great, and I didn't have to do any work. But there is a piece of work that must be done in order to make any of this stuff happen in our lives.
But the other part of that too is like, okay, let's just say you could take a magic pill and it does happen, right? But if you never attack those habits, if you never attack those core beliefs, you're going to like mess it up anyway. You're going to screw it up. You're going to self-sabotage because you didn't prepare for it. You didn't get mentally ready for it. You didn't prepare your household for the baby that was coming in.
Right. So
those are the things that we have to be prepared for what we're asking God for.
Right.
And it's a level of preparation that goes on in here internally, because if you don't, then your capacity is not small enough to receive what he's giving you.
And so I would say that if I'm hearing you, as you are helping a person lay out a physical plan for their brand, for their launch, there's also some mental preparation that has to happen. That mindset has to shift just as much as the physical aspects of what's going on.
Yes. And a lot of times, as a visionary or as the person that they're seeking, professional services from, I have to dial down to reach their capacity. Because otherwise I'll overwhelm them and they will procrastinate. And so that's a God-given gift that I have too, is to break down something that's so big in its most elementary parts, where you can like, oh, I can eat this. Oh, I can do this. Right. And it's like, what else? I'm like, that's it. When you get that done, come back and we'll give you part 2. But I don't want you running ahead, right? Because if you run too far ahead, you create anxiety. If you look too far back, you're getting depressed.
That's good.
So
that's good.
Stay right here, and you have the capacity to receive this. And it's just like a rubber band. We get you that, knee, your confidence start building. You got some momentum. You're like, okay, I can do more. So now that rubber band expands. So now I know I can give you a little bit more. But it's a lot of, it's more internal work than anything, because you're on this discovery path to discover who you are and what you're great at and how you want to show up in the world. And a lot of people are afraid to make the decision about how they want to show up in the world because they're comparing their life to other people.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah. That comparison can get us in trouble. We're going to start with that when we come back. This is Live with Michelle Vann. We are here. We're talking to Miss Christy Staples, and we will be right back. There are many reasons why womb healing may be beneficial. One reason is that the womb is where we first experience life and connect with our mother. The energy of the womb can have a profound impact on our lives, and many people report issues such as fear, anger, or a lack of self-confidence that can be traced back to experiences in the womb. Womb healing can help to release the negative emotions and allow us to move on from them. It can also help us to connect with our inner power and intuition and to experience more love and abundance in our lives. Womb healing is an empowering process that can transform your life for the better. The better our womb is, the better our birth will be. That is why we are having an experience called Healing to Heal. It begins in the womb. April the 30th, 2022. Our doors will open at 8 a.m. We will have vendors, we will have panel discussions, we will have vaccinations available, lunch will be available, prizes, and much, much more. Our fabulous keynote speaker will be Grace Marie Brown. She is a co-author of My Son Has Autism. She is a phenomenal writer, phenomenal speaker. You will totally enjoy being in her presence. She is an open book for what can happen during the birthing process. We thank you for taking the time to consider Healing to Heal. It all begins in the womb. Sisters, Can We Talk would love to see you and would love for you to be a part of this spectacular Saturday event. Hello, we are back, and this is Live with Michelle Vann. We are talking to Miss Christy Staples. She is a brand and launch strategist. And today we have been talking about, all of the things that it takes to brand, but more than anything, touching base with the Holy Spirit, getting to know what our gifts are, and getting past that P word, procrastination. I think that is such a hard thing because we love to procrastinate as people. It keeps us safe.
Right. And staying safe means that you are going to stay in your comfort zone. You're not going to move. You're not going to make any sacrifices. You're just going to stay, normal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But when we start to move and we move past procrastination, one way to move past procrastination fear is to take massive action. Like that's the antidote. Take massive action, because when you start taking massive action, your brain and the procrastination, and you can't keep up because it's like, but we're doing it. And then you start to build up your confidence, your momentum starts going, you're like, oh, well, I got this. And then you just kind of off to the races. So if you want to stop procrastinating, start taking massive action and results.
I love that. The more action that we take, the massive action that we take will shake up that thing that is telling us that we can't do it.
Exactly.
All right. So as we start to draw our time to a close, which I always, it's always amazing how fast this goes. But tell us, what are just a few things that if someone is stuck right now, someone's stuck today, they're just saying, I know that I want to launch my business. I know that I really want to get going, and they're stuck on the things like, what color should my logo be? And, all of those things, because those are things that we can do that feel like action, but they're really procrastination. If we're honest, all of those things are ways in which we can procrastinate, but we make ourselves feel good because they are things that are helping us progress, if we put it that way. So what are some things that people can really do to get past those procrastination sorts of activities?
Okay, so I would say to get past the procrastination landmine pits that you set up in your head is, number one, is quiet the noise in your life and really get with God and say, who is it that you will have me to show up in this world as? And once you get the answer to that question, then you can start the process of showing up as that person. Then you can start to get hey, I kind of need to shed this. Hey, I need to kind of beef it up in this area, because I think that personal branding always starts with personal development. Because you need to, because it's almost like you're transforming, because you're becoming someone who is going to be, led by purpose. You're becoming someone who is going to fulfill purpose on this earth. And so in order to do that, you have to become stronger internally. You have to become strongly mentally, emotionally, everything has to become stronger. Like the core of you has to really stand up so that you become this person. So that's what I would say, do. Get quiet, turn down the noise, ask God who he wants you to show up as, and then to start to show you those special points that you have, like that it factor about you. Start to show it, start to shine on it so that you can see it and receive it. And then that's how you start the branding process. One thing that I have available that I did that helped me to kind of put words around it was I took online personality test, and it's called How to Fascinate. And it's howtofascinate.com. And How to Fascinate, when you take that test, it'll give you like your archetype. It'll give you your adjectives. It'll give you the people that you work with best. And that's a great starting point for anybody who is unclear on who they are and how they show up in the world.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that we understand is that people listen to the stories that others tell about them, but they don't ever really get to internalize who they are. Eric Thomas says a lot of times, I dare you to sit in a room by yourself for 30 minutes and get to know who you are. You study everybody else, but you don't study yourself. And I think that's true. And that's really what you're saying, is that we've got to get to know who God has called us to be in this space and in this place and in this season. So you said that you used the How to Fascinate. Tell us, are there any other tools that are available that people should maybe look at?
That's pretty much the main one, because it'll open you up to so much. It's like a 5-7 page report, and it goes through those words that describe you, like those big descriptive words that describe you. It'll tell you what your strengths are. It'll tell you what your weaknesses are. It'll tell you how you need to show up in the world. and it's so amazing. I mean, it's spot on. It's so
Love
spot on. Mhm.
I love it. I think I think all of those tools like that are always beneficial, because I don't know that we ever really see the fabulous that we really are. We
Mhm.
look at everybody else, but we never really see the fabulous that we are.
Mhm.
Tell us, speaking of fabulous, tell us, how can people connect with you, and what are ways in which, if they decided, hey, you know what, I like this girl, I
Mhm.
want to work with her, what does that look like?
So I'm very social online. I am CL Staples on Instagram. My business Instagram is Hire Get Launched. I have a website called www.getlaunchdtoday.com. And then I have some courses and different things going on. So definitely hit me up on Instagram. I'm very active on there. I'm also on Facebook as well, Christy L. Staples, but that's where I am. And at the end of the month, I actually have another ebook course coming up, the one that you took on the 30th, and it'll be virtual. So we're only accepting 5 people. So it's very limited, and we just really have a hands-on approach with helping you to write your ebook. And
Let me
that's
tell you what, when you get on this call, if you get on a call with Christy and say, hey, I'm going to do an ebook, let me tell you what, baby, you're going to have an ebook written in 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And you ain't going to really know what happened. You're going to be like, hey, how did that happen so fast? Because she's right. She'll let you talk a little bit, and she'll be like, oh, yep, there you go. There's your title.
Right.
Oh, there you go. There's your first point. Oh, there's your second point.
Yeah, that's it.
And before you know it, it's done. And I promise you, the product that you will get back, the quality of product that you will get back, the beauty and the care that she takes to make sure that your product looks beautiful is definitely there. And I appreciate the quality of Christy's work. Again, Christy Staples, Get Launched. She is a brand and launch strategist extraordinaire. I promise you, you will not be unhappy if you connect with Christy. Any final words?
It's time to get launched. No more
Time to
procrastinating.
get launched.
Let's take massive action today.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank
This
you.
is Live with Michelle Vann, where we talk about health, wealth, and spirituality. This is another day in the book. Know that I love you, and that we will see you